Before we get into the video, just a general warning for some descriptions and depictions of violence. It's only one image with just like a little bit of blood. It's not even that gory, but it's a fair warning. I'll let you know when I put it on the screen. It won't be on there for the full time, and I'm just going to be describing some general warrior cats violence, so nothing that's too deviant from the book's level of violence. If you can handle that, I don't think what is going to happen this moon is going to be that shocking. Alright. A year has passed, 12 moons have come and gone, 4 seasons changed the mountains. It had been leaf fall when Carrion clan formed and left the forest. They stepped over flame-colored leaves on their way out of the clan territory. The last warmth of green leaf faded the higher they climbed. The members of Carrion clan consider themselves very lucky, a whole year of full bellies, even though there have been difficulties of leaf bear. All prey that they caught in their new territory was safe from dangerous sickness, and as new leaf blossomed, plants were no longer sick or withered away. While each felt happy to live in comfortable territory that was generally supportive to them, there was this underlying feeling of guilt. Each had left behind a clan that was only going to get worse. Who knew how many cats were left in Shade Clan, or had the clan split apart completely and joined one of the neighboring clans, leaving the name of Shade Clan behind forever? How many of their family members and old friends were still alive? How many had ascended to Star Clan? These questions plagued the minds of each cat. Even though a year had passed and the leaves started to fall again, Carrion Clan was full of reminders that their survival was nothing more than a success, an unfortunate success. They were alone, but alone together. Before we get into hearing how the moon progresses for our main character, Russeteagle, we have to talk about some unfortunate things that happened this year. We have our first cat in Star Clan. Incredibly unfortunate. I'm just stealing myself because it makes me a little bit upset, if I'm completely honest. In the second year, only one cat joined Star Clan. Just 3 moons into the new year, just before Leaf Bear started, Whiskercloud and Whitefoot spotted a large stray dog on the territory. Some 2-legs had abandoned it or it had escaped once it had been unleashed. Either way, it was easy to find because its collar jingled around with each step. Even though they did not engage the dog directly, Carrion Clan was warned. The most worried cat was Barkdon, who confided his worries in Russeteagle. They traveled out into the territory to find proper grounds for burials, which neither wanted to use, but they simply wanted it to be ready. 2 moons after the dog was discovered, it met the clan cats. A strange cat scent on the territory caused concern for the nearest patrol of Whistleheart and Streampebble. It was far too late when the scent of the dog overwhelmed them, and the cat they had been chasing managed to escape in all of the commotion. The jaws that snatched at Streampebble happened so quickly that they were barely a sound that escaped her. Her throat was crushed and she dived swiftly, seeing nothing quickly. Whistleheart managed to escape up a tree without injury and waited there patiently for the dog to leave before taking the deceased and cold Streampebble back to camp. I'm gonna put a picture on screen in 3, 2, 1. It's just some sketches I did of the dog and of Streampebble. I wanted to draw like a full scene, but I really liked the sketch, so I left it there, and it should be off the screen now. It would take another 6 moons to find the dog again, even though it had wandered away from the mountains from ClanGen clan. It was starting to come back into their territory, or at least near their territory. They hadn't been able to chase it away fully or even land any blows on it, but they were more prepared now to listen out for the jingling of its collar and the scent that it left behind. In game, no cats had any status to mourn Streampebble, but I think that it's very clear that Russeteagle would have stayed with her for a long, long time. I just remember talking about in the 11th moon, the last moon of the first year, that Streampebble and Russeteagle were kind of drifting away, and that she had this huge, childish crush on Streampebble, and now Streampebble has passed on. And I feel a little bit guilty because I was having this issue of okay, so who is Russeteagle going to end up with? Because Streampebble is obviously one of the choices for her to end up with. And I usually don't play with same-sex cats have kids, mostly because that makes the clans get crowded so much faster. But if they ended up together, I was thinking about turning it on. And I didn't even need to make that decision because she's gone. Streampebble has taken care of herself in a really unfortunate way. The cats that buried her were both Russeteagle and Redstrine, who was her previous mentor, and Russeteagle being her best friend. Her death occurred in Moon 15 when she was 19 years old, and so far, at the end of the year, she's been dead for a total of 8 moons. Shocking, right? But her being the first cat in ClanGen clan to die, I think that I want to talk a little bit how I think Star Clan is gonna work for ClanGen clan. I don't count their Star Clan guide as among their Star Clan ranks. I think that they have their own Star Clan now that they're a part of a different sky, basically. Not that they're actually that far from the clans they came from originally. Shade Clan and the other clans that all used their own way to communicate to Star Clan. It's not super far, so it's not like they had to, in the books, follow them to new territory. But I think that they're kind of isolated, and Star Clan is just going to form of only their dead cats. So Streampebble being the first one to die makes her the one and only Star Clan cat. As a founder of the clan as well, I think it's possible that she could be our Star Clan guide for ClanGen clan, if you guys like that, if that's interesting to you. I'm kind of on the fence about it, mostly because she's so young. I don't want to put that on her, but she's our only Star Clan cat, so it kind of makes sense. Either way, Star Clan has yet to locate a place that Shade Clan and the other clans had to talk to Star Clan. They had something called Moon Falls, which sounds exactly as it is. It's a waterfall where they would touch the nose or drink up the water and they'd see Star Clan visions. So we haven't found that yet, but we will find one in the future, hopefully. There's probably a side plot that I'm going to go on for that. And yeah, that's Star Clan. It's actually incredibly sad. I really like Streampebble, and I think it's really unfortunate that she passed away. But the issue did solve itself in a twisted way. Anyways, new additions. We have 6 new cats that have joined the clan this year. 6 whole new cats. That's exciting. Kind of makes up for the one death with 5 new cats to the numbers. So when discussing Stream Pebble's death, I happened to mention a mysterious cat scent that they picked up that, Stream Pebble and Whistleheart were following. That scent belonged to a loner Tom that was previously mates with another loner named Dew, welcomed into the clan by Russeteagle and the pregnant Palesight, which I will discuss later. We will get to that. Dew brought herself and her 3 kits, who were just big enough to be left alone for long periods of time, into the clan. Ravenstar allowed the queen and her kits, though he was kind of concerned about all of the issues that would come with her appearance, like, can other cats find them? Are there other cats on the territory? Are there any other groups of rogues or loners or even other clans out here in the mountains? Concerns that it's, a highly populated place, which would be surprising. But no, it's just Dew and her kits and the guy that she was with. However, if Ravenstar was ever, properly asked about his opinions on Dew and her family, he would be incredibly encouraging, and he's even started to warm up to her, but we can talk a little bit about Dew's relationship with the clan and how she fits in a little bit later. So, Dew took the name of Dew Chasm and has hardly spoken about her past. All that is known about her is the following. Dew was a loner for her entire life and often crossed paths with many different cats. In her later life, she turned towards isolation and met a smooth-talking Tom that stole her soul and her heart and just swept her off her paws. He was incredibly persuasive and could convince any cat of anything. If he wanted to, he could convince dogs not to bark and the sun not to rise. He was just that good. And after their beautiful whirlwind romance, Dew was left pregnant and alone. And she was horrified, as anyone would be. She hardly had the ability to take care of her kits. She hardly knew how to take care of her kits. She's quite an older cat. So this was really difficult for her to be pregnant at this time. And just raising kits alone with no prior knowledge of raising kits is really difficult for her. And she barely had enough time to leave her kits to go hunt for prey. Nor did she want to. She was kind of depressed for a while. And it took her a good amount of time before her kits were big enough where she could just leave them and look for help. And that's where she found 2 really nice clan cats that took her in. So, Dew Chasm joined in Moon 20 at the age of 100 moons. She had 3 kits with her, all at the age of 3 moons, named Olive, Frond, and Ermine. Each of the 3 were old enough to sneak into apprentices' roles just before the turn of the year. So, Olive Paw and Ermine Paw are both warrior apprentices, and Frond Paw is a medicine cat apprentice. About the kits, which should be on screen right now. I love them. They are so precious. Very cute. So going from left to right, we have Olive, who's in the front left. Olive kit was a sweet kit that was a bit on the whiny side. She was closest to her mother and always saw a lot of the difficulties that Dew went through with hunting and keeping her kits alive. Olive gained the skill of being a good moss ball hunter, which I kind of consider is her wanting to take an active role to helping out her mom. As an apprentice, she's become more compassionate and has started an apprenticeship under Red Stride, which is a solid choice because he's a pretty good mentor. This also marks his 2nd apprentice, which is a fun choice. There are other cats who have not got their first apprentice, and he's gotten 2. So go Red Stride, you're really making a good name for yourself in this clan. The other daughter, Frond, the one that's in the back there with the blue eyes, is far more gentle and polite. She was kind to everyone and probably still has a really bad sense of danger because she treats everybody kindly without question. She'd be so prone to like getting kidnapped because she just, nothing is getting through to her. She just believes in the most positive, nicest things about everyone. While she's super kind, she's also really, really worried about the fact that her brother, Ermine, is increasingly reckless and has a strong nature of protection for her 2 siblings. This behavior has led her to joining Bark Dawn in the Medicine Cat Den, while she's taken to the stories of StarClan and is always listening carefully to what her mentor says. She's kind of the first one out of her 3 siblings to really be like, yeah, the clans are great, StarClan, woo! The other 2 are a little bit shyer on the topic, which is fine. You don't have to put them in the cult yet. You don't have to force them into StarClan just yet, but she's really taken to it. And on the topic of finding a way to commune with StarClan, I am certain that year 3 or 4 will have Frondpaw kind of discovering that. I think that'd be great. I think that's going to be her thing. Because, it totally fits for her. Next and last is Duchasm's only son, Ermine, and he is a pawful. Ermine Paw was an avid play fighter and originally a lonesome little guy as a kit. He really did not like being in the clan when he first joined, even having a funny little status the moon just after they joined, where he was thinking about what it would be like to be a loner, which is super funny. I don't think he enjoyed being around so many other cats, especially so quickly. Going from just being his family unit to family unit and a bunch of strangers is a huge change for anyone, and more importantly, huge for a child that doesn't like to be around other children or people. So I relate, I get. I also think that he might have wanted to run away one too many times from the clan. However, this kind of lonesome, escapist nature turned into an adventurous one, which is a lot more manageable, and he was given to Russeteagle to be her apprentice. I'm so excited, okay? I cannot wait to see her be a mentor. She only got 1 moon with him this year, so we will talk about that at the very end, but I'm just so excited for her to be a mentor because it's great. I love Russeteagle so much. So aside from Duchasm and her 3 apprentice-age children, we have our first clan-born kits. A round of applause, everyone. We have kits. Okay. Palesight, who I mentioned previously to be pregnant, had 2 kits with her newfound mate. You're not ready for this? Whitefoot. I was betting on Whitefoot and Russeteagle getting together, so color me surprised when Palesight and Whitefoot confess their feelings for each other and are already having kids. I was shocked, and I'm playing the game, so I don't really have a better place to talk about it, so I'm going to talk about this a little bit just right now. It's just Whitefoot was the cat I was going for. I talked about it last moon mostly. The very end where I was talking about Stream Pebble and how they were becoming less of friends, and how Russeteagle was going to be spending more time with Whitefoot and Stream Pebble was going to be with Whisker Cloud. I was wrong. because Whitefoot did not care about Russeteagle. You will see that this moon. They do not get along anymore. I am shocked. And Pale Sight is now Whitefoot's mate. So while I was certain that those two were not going to end up together, I thought Pale Sight was going to be Russeteagle instead with Whitefoot. That is something I will cover through the years on why that didn't happen. Anyways, the two kits that you can see on screen are Sand Kit on the left and Dry Kit on the right. They were born in Moon 22, just 2 moons before the end of the year. Sand Kit is bossy. She likes to hound her mother constantly to play with her. She does not like how much the other warriors are doing things, and constantly wants all of the attention of her mother, while she's not wanting for the attention of cats. She's constantly climbing over everything, which also sometimes is cats. Mostly her mom. Her mom is a mobile playground, apparently. Sandkit seems like a total pawful, and I cannot wait to see how she acts as an apprentice, because I think whoever is her mentor is going to have a lot of fun dealing with this ball of chaos. Dry Kit, very different from her sister. She's quiet, quick-witted, and just non-existent, really. I think that Sand Kit talks enough for the both of them, and Dry Kit doesn't really feel that she needs to communicate verbally that much. Dry Kit, again, is the opposite, with being, more physically slow and tired. Her only status that she had was yawning, so I think she's a lot more, slow-paced, kind of sleepy, likes to spend her time snoozing, which she should, because she's just a little baby. They're only 1 moon old, so they'll be apprentices and, maybe warriors next year, but, they're both little tired babies, and Sandkit is already trying to ADHD nightmare her way out of the nursery, and Dry Kit just wants to sleep. So they're wholesome and sweet, and I love them. Moving on to the first moon, it's been 20 minutes? Hold on, I'm pulling up the audio recording. It's been 23 minutes, and we're just getting into the moons. I'm so sorry if you had to sit through all that. I'm recording at night, and I'm having a ball, so this is the most excited I have been all day. And I'm sorry I'm letting this all out in a recording. This is why I made a script, otherwise I'd be incoherent. Moon 12. Moon 12 is the first moon of the second year and is surprisingly calm. I'm probably the only one that does this, but I count Moon 0 as the first moon, so from 0 to 11 is the first year, and then 12 to 23 is the second year, and I just go through the full year. I will never go back to whatever first season is of the year, so I'll always end on the last moon of winter instead of the first moon of spring, if that makes sense. It just works better in my mind, so I'm actually getting 12 instead of a weird 13 or 11 sometimes. I don't know. That's how I do it. So the only things that happened as the moon turned over was Dream Pebble was healing from her snake bite, which she got bit by a snake, if you remember, and Whisker Cloud got White Cough, which is going to mark our fun, fantastic little sickness shuffle of White Cough, Green Cough, Yellow Cough. I think those are the only 3 sicknesses that we just kind of go throughout the year, which is very fun. Due to all of the calmness and general relaxation in the clan, I think the Carrot clan is more in their minds with the year having passed. Russeteagle is pretty calm, and she spent her time grooming. That was her little status. And I think she's just kind of lost in her own thoughts about leaving behind Shade Clan, with no biological connection to her previous clan, because her parents were loners. her mother was a loner. Not clan cat is the point I'm making. She's in a really unique position because of that, and Karen clan is going to be the first clan that she can actually just like leave her mark on and leave behind children or what have you. Here this year and for years onward, I'm also paying attention to the interactions, the relationship things that the cats have with each other. I don't know why I didn't pay attention last year, but whatever. Over this moon, Ravenstar had a bit of tension with Russeteagle because she sneaked out of camp and nobody noticed but him, which makes me think that later when Coyote Shadow wants to get to know Russeteagle better, it's really because Ravenstar is like, hey, go check on her. You're my deputy, go do it for me. Whiskercloud, by the way, who is in the medicine cat den currently, sneaks out to sleep with Russeteagle in her nest, which is the picture on screen. It is really cute, and this is where I first started to think, maybe she's gonna end up with him. Maybe, because she had like a crush on him. I think all of the younger cats, which was Russeteagle, Stream Pebble, Whitefoot, Whiskercloud, Palesight, and Redstride, like those guys, who are all like closer in age to each other compared to all the older cats, all kind of have crushes on each other. So that is a fun thing to deal with, and this is the first time I was thinking about if it wasn't gonna be Whitefoot. She just worked best with Whitefoot last moon, so times are changing, I guess. Russeteagle's last interaction for this moon was with Barkdawn, and it was incredibly precious. She always thinks that Barkdawn has everything figured out, so when he messes up all his herbs this moon and begins to panic, she's amazed that he would rely on her for help. And this led to me sending the two out on an herb gathering patrol with Redstride, which is the other picture that you're seeing. Early in the moon, Redstride spoke out during a clan meeting, and I imagine that Ravenstar used this little herb gathering patrol as punishment for him. Barkdawn got frustrated with Redstride when he was dragging his paws and looking really annoyed, as he is. And they ended up missing out on their hunt for some fresh mallow, and I think it probably ended with Barkdawn and Redstride in tension, but Russeteagle soothed him enough to be like, okay, let's just stop arguing and go home. Moon 13 is Drama Central. This is the first of like many arguments that's gonna happen this year, so this is fun. But first, as the moon turned over, Whiskercloud recovered from his sickness. Redstride is now in the medicine kit den with an injured tail from a fox attack. So one comes in, one comes out. That's how it's gonna be all year. Russeteagle, airplane. Okay, airplane. I live under a fly zone. More fun facts today. Russeteagle spent another moon with Barkdawn, wondering about his duties and taking care of him. I think that she considers him like a father or a grandfather and really just enjoys hanging around the medicine cat den, whether inside it or just kind of around the outside. His status this moon was ensuring that all of his duties are taken care of, so I am convinced that her concerns are like of his old age and the lack of apprentice to come help him, and just no obvious connections to StarClan because they don't have any way to talk to them. They're not going to like half moon meetings or even gatherings anymore, so no one's talking to StarClan, and we really haven't had a vision from StarClan, and so she's worried for him and he's comforting her, which is really sweet. Her interactions are all drama though. This is where Ravenstar was having Coyote Shadow keep an eye on Russeteagle, and the two got into a several day long fight. She said she would cover for him in a situation, but ended up getting him in trouble which I don't know how you can get the deputy in trouble, but this is what I cooked up. Russeteagle, being like a really sneaky young woman, used all of her skills to expose that she knew Ravenstar was having her be tailed, and she got him to back off because she exposed that Coyote Shadow was the one tailing her. Now, Whistleheart witnessed this argument and considered Russeteagle to be really rude in the situation. Of course, she's going to defend Coyote Shadow, her half-brother, which, it's not in my notes, but I do think they start hanging out a lot this year. I think this is kind of where Coyote Shadow's like, why do you care so much, to Whistleheart? And Whistleheart's probably like, because I am your half-sister. There, I said it. I think this is where it comes out. Like, after this argument, he, like, snaps at her, and she's like, I'm related to you. This is why I'm here. And so that's something that could be happening in the background. Later, Whistleheart and Russeteagle have a talk with Barkdawn, and they'll have some closure to the situation, talk it through, explain why everyone is arguing with each other. Whistleheart has a moment to calm down and be like, it's not about you, Russeteagle, I'm just defensive of Coyote Shadow, and probably also lets it spill here that she's related to him. I think that's kind of like something that's going to start happening now, that she's just going to tell him. And our final interaction has to do with our patrol for this moon. Palesight is a bit jealous with her former apprentice for getting to go on a patrol with Coyote Shadow, which she shouldn't be, because it was a horrible time. Russeteagle and Stream Pebble went out on a patrol with Coyote Shadow to check the border, and it was extremely tense. This was just after all the arguing. He really tried to tell some stories to lighten the mood, and it did not work. They did not care. Moon 14 is ominous. This is just when the rest of the clan kind of learns about the dog. So that was Moon 13. Moon 14 is the only thing that happens during the turn is like Palesight gets sick, so she's in the medicine cat den now. Woo! But in both her interactions and status, Russeteagle is nothing going on. She just wanted to crave a vole, and no one interacted with her at all. But, however, she goes out with Barkdawn to look for places to bury cats, looking for their burial grounds. So that's this moon. And she steps on a thorn and gets cut, and think it's kind of like a sign, and they're both like, this is really ominous. Do you think someone's gonna die to the dog? They would be right. We know that with foresight. They would be right. But still very ominous playing through. I did not think of anything of it while I was playing. But now I see the connections. I see the warning sign. I see this was an omen. And Moon 15 we were not ready for. This is where everything happened. Lovely picture, little funeral. I didn't put any blood on it, so it's just a nice little peaceful moment. Moon 15 is our roller coaster. As the moon turned over, we had our first mated pair of Palesight and Whitefoot. I was shocked. If you were shocked, I was more shocked. I was so exasperated in this moment, just going, okay, nothing worse can happen this moon. Nothing more than ruining my romance plot that I was setting up with Whitefoot. Maybe Russeteagle neglected him by hanging out with her, like, father figure, Barkdawn, making sure that the medicine cat is alright, and he just, like, went to go to Palesight instead, which is fine, good for Palesight, enjoy having a mate now, but dang, I thought those two were really gonna get together. And even though at this point Russeteagle is 19 moons old, I don't actually start to meddle with her for a few moons. You will see why next moon. Meanwhile, her scratch has healed. She got scratched from the thorn, and Whisker Cloud is now in with Yellow Cough. I said it's really just if like everyone's going back and forth into that medicine kit then with some sickness. It happens in ClanGen. This moon is yet another moon of Russeteagle, really relying on Barkdawn's friendship. This is like the moon where she hangs, or the year where she hangs out with him the most. She is super jealous that she didn't get to go out on a patrol with him, and has the status that she plans to visit the medicine cat den. If you hear that, that's fireworks, I think. I don't know why they're going. There's someone who is nearby my house that lets off fireworks sometimes. If it's those little... I'm not gonna get into it. I don't want to accidentally dock myself by talking about crime that happens nearby. Not dangerous crime, no one dies, but there's these annoying punks that set off fireworks sometimes. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, okay, instead of going out with Barkdawn, Russeteagle goes out with Coyote Shadow, and it's real awkward, as mentioned previously, and everywhere. Extreme Pebble passes away this moon. It's really unfortunate, so this image is for her. I just wanted a nice image of Extreme Pebble and the two who cared for her the most mourning her. I think Russeteagle probably would have stayed until the morning. She probably would have stayed the longest. It's also winter, by the way, in case you need a reminder. So snow is happening. I think there's snow in the next moon's image. No, she gets out, but what's the whole thing? So yeah, Renstraw is also there, and they're the ones that bury her. So that's great. Moon 16 is boring. Okay, extremely boring. Nothing happens this moon. Red Stride has recovered from his mangled tail. Good for him. Hillsight no longer has White Cough. Good for her. But Russeteagle has Yellow Cough. As one gets out, one gets back in. That's how this works. Her only interaction is with Coyote Shadow, who is spreading rumors about Russeteagle, likely still because of their argument that they've been having kind of throughout the year so far, which... shame on you, sir. You are the deputy. And she is sick. Don't. Why? Barkdawn overhears this, however, and he ends up talking with Russeteagle in a shaded corner of the camp. Sadly, she doesn't go on any patrols because she's sick, so all she does is stay inside of the medicine kit den, getting healed with lungwort, because that's what you need for Yellow Cough. I looked it up on the wiki. I don't know my herbs that well. I am not one of those Warrior Cats fans who has memorized all of the things that, all the illnesses or injuries that need herbs and what herbs they are. I'm not one of those fans. That's not me. Moon 17 is also really boring, but slightly more interesting than last moon. Whistleheart has gotten White Cough, and Whisker Cloud has recovered from Yellow Cough. So again, the clan is shuffling in and out with sickness. As Whistleheart comes into the medicine kit den with her own sickness, she and Russeteagle end up talking. They talk about the plan and linger a little bit too long on the drama that's happening between Russeteagle and Ravenstar. I think that Whistleheart's kind of like, remember that you're not really mad at Coyote Shadow. Like, he's really only doing what Ravenstar told him to do, so, like, direct your anger towards the right person. Don't tank it out on the messenger or even just the puppet in the situation. And a little bit later on during the year, she starts to develop a crush on Whitefoot. It's like the interaction she had is getting a crush on Whitefoot, which, stop. He's already not interested. He's already got a mate. He's not interested. He makes that very clear. Because she goes to bring up some concerning behavior of his, because she's a girl boss like that, and she's like, hey, I have a crush on you, and I do not like the way that you're behaving. Let's talk about it. Let's have a productive conversation. Does not go that way. She is sadly mistaken when the two get into a huge argument that has to be broken up by Whistleheart, Palesight, and Barked On. Incredibly unfortunate. But don't worry, because Moon 18 here is here to give us closure. Moon 18 has Whistleheart recovering from a white cough and Russeteagle recovering from a yellow cough. Whitefoot has gotten a stomach ache and Whiskcloud has gotten a running nose, so everyone, like, 2 exit, 2 come in. I love the medicine cat dead. In this interaction that happens, like the first one, Ravenstar considers Russeteagle to be very helpful. Instant win. He's thinking something positive about her. Whitefoot is really surprised that Russeteagle's life isn't as easy as he thought it would be. Another win. She's girl bossing all over him. And Russeteagle, however, does not care about these detractors in her life. She does not care. She wants to spend all day with Whiskcloud, which is really funny because this happened the same moon where he was having the status wondering if any cat would miss him if he left the clan, which is safe to say that, yeah, Russeteagle would. And they go on a border patrol, and it's awkward, and it's sweet, and they make it work. I think this is like they just mess up and don't know how to talk to each other, which is fair. Socially awkward. Whiskcloud makes it all the more interesting, being in a relationship with this sneaky girl boss. Moon 19 is fantastic. First of all, Whitefoot has gotten over his stomachache, but more importantly, news that's going on, new mates. That's right, new mates this moon. You can probably tell, okay? You can probably tell because of the picture. But Whiskcloud, shy guy, awkward guy, socially awkward, lonesome guy, confesses his feelings to Russeteagle, and the two become mates. While she has a crush on Whitefoot, she's also been having strong and developing feelings for Whiskcloud. You go, girl. Do not become a homewrecker. Just go for the other guy. And due to this is where tea comes in. Whitefoot and Russeteagle have another argument. Maybe he was really liking the fact that she revealed that she had a crush on him and that she was kind of flirty and that she was giving him attention, or maybe he was trying to float it by about having an open relationship, or even thinking about cheating on Palesight, which, shame on you, sir, she does not deserve. To cool down from this heated argument, Russeteagle grooms herself and gets some much needed help from Barked On, who probably is asking about all of the deets, what's going on. I'm just an old man trying to get into your relationship, trying to help you, which is sweet. It's wholesome cut. I just looked at the time and it's 40 minutes and we still got so much to go left. This is gonna take a while. I'm so sorry. This is gonna be such a long episode. This is gonna be 50 something. It's gonna be an hour, maybe. Later, Russeteagle has a difficult conversation with Ravenstar, and the two finally clear their whole air between them about the whole Coyote Shadow following her, tailing her argument situation. They now have a deep understanding of each other afterwards. She's sneaky. She likes her time alone. She just wants to do her own thing sometimes, and sometimes that includes running away from camp to go hunt on her own. She's a good warrior, does not matter. And Ravenstar is right, I have to trust my warriors. I have to trust Russeteagle. In fact, this gives me new respect for you. I like you, I appreciate you. They see each other a lot better after this conversation. and it's great. And now that Russeteagle and Russeteagle are mates, they will like forever go on patrols with each other, and they have a really cute little flirty outing, and it's sweet, but they still get their duties done because Russeteagle does not mess around. Okay, she is a girl boss first and a lover second. That made me laugh, so that made me laugh. I gotta take a moment, okay? Moon 20 is when we meet Dew or Dewchasm. It's another moon of drama. Whiskercloud has recovered from his running nose, but who cares about him because Palesight is having kittens. I'm so excited. Okay, you met her kittens, but I already sand kit and drag kit. But when I tell you that I was shocked how quickly she was having kittens, I cannot even tell you how mind blown I was. First of all, she became mates with Whitefoot in Moon 15. It's 5 moons later, my guy. That's pretty soon to be having kids, okay? And the pretty young, they're not even that old. I don't remember their ages off the top of my head because I didn't put in my notes, but they're less than 30 moons, maybe. That's wild. Good for them though. You know, I think Palesight is gonna be a good mom. I don't think Whitefoot's gonna be a good dad. I said it, okay? Also this moon, Russeteagle disappears for a few days. I think now that she's kind of cleared the air with Ravenstar, she gets to do this kind of without everyone being like, where's she going? Everyone needs to pay attention. Everyone needs to bring attention. She's going to be tailed by the deputy now. No, she gets to roam free a little bit, go disappear for a few days. And I think this is because after Palesight announced her pregnancy, Russeteagle was like, you can have kids, for sure. Not with a dog on the territory. So, I'm not gonna stop you from having kids, because that's already happening, but I am gonna go track down that dog. And she wants a good life for her mentor, her previous mentor, I should say. She's not an apprentice anymore. And she wants those kids to be safe. Because, again, girl boss first, lover second. Russeteagle just looks out for everyone. In fact, her only interaction this moon is wanting to spend more time with Palesight. Warms my heart. So often can you have in this game, mentors and apprentices never want to interact with each other outside of, the time that they were training. So, the fact that she wants to spend all the time with Palesight is beautiful. So I made them go on a patrol before Palesight was going to be retiring to the nursery. And we brought a new cat into the clan on this outing. I get Dew. Dew is my sweetheart. She's my whole world. She explains her backstory and then runs away to go get her kits. And she brings them back to the clan. And Palesight could not say no because as a now pregnant mother, she was like, I'm sympathetic to this, and Russeteagle is a loving girl boss, and she will never say no to helping cats, even if the father of, Dewchasm's kits was the one who got Stream Pebble killed. I mean, he didn't do it specifically, but they were, chasing after him. And then encounter the dog. So, a little bit his fault. And Ravenstar couldn't exactly say no when they show up to camp with kits and a queen. So, he just lets them in. And Dewchasm earns her new name, and all her kits have been given little kit names. And she gets to go with Palesight into the nursery. So, 2 queens that are 2 peas in a pod, with Russeteagle being their, buff protector. Moon 21 is a lot calmer. originally. I said a lot calmer, but this picture says otherwise a little bit. Trouble in Paradise is exactly what I labeled it in my notes. So, yeah, Pale Sight is officially retired to the nursery. I think she's also kind of being like Dukesm and her kit's like buffer to the clan. I think she's really taking care of them as well. This moon, Ravenstar and Russeteagle share an interesting conversation while eating. I took this to be that there are kids that are going to be apprentices soon, and they're going to need mentors. Point blank period. They will need mentors, and it's got to be time to look at these warriors. So he starts considering who's going to be a good choice. Who is going to mentor these kids? And he wants to discuss that with her, because first of all, she found them, like she found Dukesm, so she's going to know Dukesm the best. So she talks with Dukesm as well to be like, okay, who the kid's clicking with, who are you clicking with, who can we trust? And Ravenstar wants Russeteagle's opinion, because of course he does. He doesn't want to frustrate her anymore, because she is outsmarting him in that whole situation. And you know, she was right. She should have the privacy to skedaddle out of camp whenever she wants to. She's an adult. She's not an apprentice anymore. Ravenstar's being a little bit controlling, which, after the disaster that was Shade Clan, I can understand it. I can be understanding to how worried he is. Either way, the drama, the tea, is where Russeteagle and Whiskercloud, they go out on a training patrol, and while training, she asks him if he thinks that she would be a good mentor, because she's kind of thinking about her, like, her talk with Ravenstar and her relationship with Dukesm and her kits, and Whiskercloud doesn't answer, and that's more telling to Russeteagle than it would be if he said, you know, I don't know, I've never seen you teach anyone. So Whiskercloud is not winning in my book. This could just be like he's not great in conversation and he's fine everywhere else, but she's asking you a simple question, a yes or a no, I think you'd be good, or I think you'd be bad, could have sufficed, but you know, whatever. Awkwardly look away and not respond is fine. Moving on, Moon 22. This is when the kids are born. Ravenstar gets heat exhaustion. Redstream gets herbs in his pelt, which is a design choice I forgot. I have a picture of him later in Moon 23, and I totally forgot to add it. Does not matter though, because Pale Sight's kids are born. Sand Kit and Dry Kit are in the clan officially now. I love Dry Kit's appearance. She's so cute. Okay, she's so cute. And Russeteagle immediately wants to get to know Pale Sight's kit. She immediately wants to get to know Sand Kit. She's already wondering if she could mentor her mentor's kits, which would just keep like mentoring train going, which is really sweet. And she's just so excited to get to know them as they grow up. And she's just like a proud auntie, and I love her. And I drew this cute picture of her and Sand Kit, and I'm just kind of wanting Russeteagle to have her own kit, because I think she would be a great mom. She's a little too young for her own kits, honestly. She's like hardly even 2 years old. I actually don't even think she's 2 years old yet. I'm trying to remember. She's either I think she's 4 moons old in Moon 0, so she should. I'm not gonna think about it. Someone else can do the math, or I can look at my notes, or I can open the game. I'm not going to, okay? Because later, Russeteagle and Dukesm go on a patrol together, and this is more important. I personally don't really like to keep the queens inside the camp after they've like officially recovered from birth, because that's a whole 3 moons that they could be doing anything else, and I really don't think it's like no other cat is like not paying attention to the kids, because Pale Sight is currently in the nursery. She's got 2 kids of her own. She can watch 3 other kids, and they're in, like, you got a medicine cat around as well. I mean, there's no elders, so it's not like adult kit sitters that aren't queens or a medicine cat, but like, it's not, she can go on one patrol without dying, which is funny. Sorry, because you can die on patrols. Word choice is, I'm not thinking, okay? I'm gonna go back to my notes. I wrote a script, okay? Can you tell I wrote a script? This video is collapsing beneath my fingertips. It's escaping like sand in my palm. Regardless, Russeteagle and Duchasm try out fighting techniques, and they have this like sweet little bonding moment where Duchasm is getting close to Russeteagle and Pale Sight as well, because Pale Sight's like taking care of her kits, and I think those 3 are really close, and it's nice to see there are 3 she-cats being friends with each other, especially because like they're not even like really the same ages as each other, and they're all very different parts of their life, and yet they're all surprisingly at the same parts of their life, because they're all like have recently been recently started romances. Obviously Duchasm's not in her romance anymore, but both Pale Sight and Russeteagle have just started romances, and both Duchasm and Pale Sight are first-time moms, even though they're like 80 moons apart from each other, like 70, 80 moons apart from each other. So it's just a nice group of women supporting women. And I really think that in this picture, Russeteagle, I was gonna have a bunch of like little text boxes with like images, but I decided against it because I drew a nice tree in the background. But I really think that Russeteagle is just like info dumping all of this, like, okay, so here's how you fight, and here's how you do this, and here's how you do this, and here's how you do this, and this is what I learned. And Duchasm is like, okay, nervously sweating. But obviously she's not gonna be mean to one of her only friends here. Okay. Last moon. I can totally get this video. We got like 2 minutes before this video is an hour long. I'm so sorry. If you stayed for an hour, you're a real one. I appreciate it. Moon 23. Last moon of the year. Ravenstar has healed from his heat exhaustion. Barked on, is no longer poisoned or shocked. Yeah, he poisoned himself, by the way, with death berries. Russeteagle was a little too busy with the kits to notice that he did that, but she would have laughed at him and then been like, okay, what herb do I use to help you? No worries, he figured it out himself. And Russeteagle also got picked up by an eagle, but was dropped because he was too heavy, which is fun. And no cats were, like, none of the kits were attacked, so I'd much rather that it was Russeteagle than it was any of the 5 youngins in the clan. And the last thing that happened with the turn of the moon, obviously, is apprentices. You already know who they end up with, but I shall reiterate, because that was literally like 30-40 minutes ago. Do not blame me for forgetting. First we have Franpaw. She becomes the medicine cat apprentice to Barked On. She is so excited to become a medicine cat apprentice, particularly to continue protecting her family. Next we have Olive Paw becoming Redstride's apprentice and making this his second apprentice. And Russeteagle gets her first apprentice with Ermine Paw. So, girl boss is girl bossing. I think of the 3, he was definitely the best choice. I think she can most definitely handle having an adventurous little guy with him. If it wasn't her, I probably would have also liked to see Pale Sight, because Pale Sight was an adventurous apprentice as well. So I think she could probably also see herself in Ermine Paw, which would have been a really also good choice. As for interactions, Russeteagle was prancing around in front of Whitefoot, I think probably playing around or teasing with him for not having an apprentice. Thankfully, did not turn into a fight. Anytime they're not fighting is a win in my book. I think that, oh, sorry, I skipped a line. A little later on from that, prancing around, we have Kaiigus, who relies on Russeteagle in a time of need, only for Russeteagle to abandon them. Unfortunate. I think that this is probably in regards to being like a mentor to the kits. I can only assume that Kaiigus wanted her to have Olive Paw because Russeteagle and Olive Paw kind of like click a little bit better than her and Ermine Paw, but that's kind of not what happened. And speaking of Olive Paw and Ermine Paw, they took a nice sun bath with Russeteagle, and a little bit after that, Drykit came to check in on Russeteagle, which is really cute. I love Drykit so much, okay? I cannot wait to see who her mentor is. For the last patrol of the year, my favorite picture, I needed to stop to talk about this picture. Look at Russeteagle's face. She's so fun. I love her so much. Also, they're fishing. Sorry, this is a Russeteagle appreciation video. So for the last patrol of the year, Redstride, Russeteagle, Olive Paw, and Ermine Paw all go out to practice hunting techniques. Since she was thinking about whether she would be a good swimmer or not this moon, I think that Russeteagle and Redstride took them out to hunt in a nearby stream to try out fishing. Redstride also had this interaction with Russeteagle that he was surprised that she showed off a skill that he didn't know that she had, so I think that was probably the fishing. She looks pretty concentrated and is like she's having a good time, so maybe she's really good at it, but not good at teaching it and not great at communicating, so the only one who's getting it is Ermine Paw. But it's, you know, she's having a blast. She's doing great. You know, it's not like they need to fish that often anyways. Other sources of prey to catch. And gosh dang, is this video long. I'm just gonna wrap this up as quickly as I possibly can. Thank you for watching so much. I'm probably gonna take a small break to put out another video after this. A lighter video, a probably not as long as an hour long video. I cannot promise that the next Russeteagle video will be any longer or as long, because I only start touching that game file after I've posted the video, so can't even spoil what happens next year if I wanted to. And yeah, if you like ClanGen content, I guess stay tuned for soon. This video dramatically increased in quality, if you can tell with the images. They're no longer just kind of like two characters on a blank background. It's full little scenes with colored backgrounds and more detailed line art. That takes time to do, so I'm gonna slow down. I'm actually recording this like less than 2 weeks after I put out my first video, so I was on a crazy grind. I don't want burnout, so I'm just going to kick it back a little bit. I do appreciate all the love and attention I did get, though. That was absolutely insane. It's, I'm totally dating when I did this video. Then again, it's the middle of the night, so have fun guessing. I it's 11 days ago, and I had like 600, almost 650 views. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that's insane. If you want to see me do more of this, if you want even longer episodes, if you want an hour and 20 minutes, I will try to do that. I don't know. I love rambling about my silly little battle cats, so thanks for indulging in this passion of mine. It really, really means a lot to me that, like, anybody watches my videos, so if you made it this far, thanks. Honestly, I don't know what more to say, but if you really like this, I guess look out for more stuff that I'm doing. Bye!